Any comments? Do you remember?
Yeah, is anyone from PwC in this audience? I find that appalling. Someone ought to issue a retraction, or if it's true, everyone should leave.
Did you read the whole article?
No, I didn't know. It was.
Is that in there? Is that? Not that I distrust you, but sometimes we would play a game of telephone.
We were just both talking about the article because it started really good, and then became kind of repetitive, and it got a little boring.
And a little angry.
Exactly, to the point I'm like, I don't know if I want to really finish reading that.
Okay.
Did you feel that way?
But I mean, I just find that outrageous.
Yeah.
I don't know how people could say that. So,
it seems pretty absurd on its face. All right.
I would fire that person.
Yes.
For me.
I can't imagine it was on the record. Among Asian employees, are there differences among women and men that require special management understanding for talent development? Jump ball.
No.
No.
I mean, no. In fact, you better not, because you will be skirting around the law of U.S. labor law. You got to be very, very careful. But there is no difference. Why? I mean, other than men and ladies' room, I don't see any reason why there needs to be any different.
What if you took out among Asian employees and just said, are there differences among women and men that require I mean, that's a whole other panel.
That's another
right.
That's a whole other question. But, I mean, you're just saying that the issues that we face between men and women, which we all know about, there's nothing different about it within the Asian community.
No. And in fact, I think this is one that's very good. I think the Asian, I mean, I know the Chinese. I can't say well what you said. The Chinese looks at men and women's employees pretty much the same. You know, if you look at a China hierarchy of a lot of the company, a lot of the senior managements are actually women, and it's very comfortable. And everybody's very comfortable. The men's very comfortable. The women's very comfortable. And so I don't think there's any difference.
I don't know if I agree with that, because obviously I work with a lot of women.
Well, I'm a man, that's why. I don't think there's any difference. But that's your view.
Well, you're saying, John, you wouldn't develop them differently. I think Jenny's going to make a different point.
Okay. Right.
I do feel there's a difference, and just from my own experience now, again, and you know, I come from a very, I would say, creative business environment, and to really develop women executive or leaders, what they require, what they want is slightly different than men. Women tend to want a little bit more dialogue, conversation. They really care about not just what they do at work, what they do at home also, in the community. While I find men actually don't bring a lot of the family conversation into it, but I find women want to. They want to connect, not just business-wise, they want to connect personally. That counts a lot for them.
That's true, though, of whites, blacks, Hispanics,
yes,
Asians, right?
I would say, yes. I'm not saying this is Asian.
Thing.
I think it's a women.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about women, you know, versus
right.
men.
I have no comment.
Like I said, this is my personal experience, and I actually work with a lot of women.
This is the same as my wife asking, what do you think? I can't win this argument. So let it be different.
Does this skirt make me... any other thoughts on this one? Or keep going? Okay. This is a good one. John, you kind of hinted at this. Doesn't mean you have to answer it. But with the strong growth in China, will we lose our top Asian American talent who want to work and live in China?
Yeah, that's a big issue. I think well, first of all, the Chinese government are doing a lot to recruit the top Chinese and Asian talents from the United States. And then the United States' latest immigration law, post 9/11, is doing a lot to push those top Asian, Chinese, American away from being here, or maybe they're not American yet, but scholars and very talented people. So this is a whole different set of issue. And when I could tell people, I mean, so the government from time to time, some 30-some years ago when I graduated, I look around, I want to be in engineering, and you know, United States was the best place to engineering. But I also feel very extremely welcome. And you know, there are lawyers and everybody who want to do, you know, finish my status and you know, and maybe, you know, United States citizen. The company wants to do that and everything else. I mean, I felt extremely welcome in this country, and so of course I stayed and did that. But today, if I have given the choice again, and given the fact that I probably feel not as welcome as I used to feel, I would just immediately get on a plane and go back to wherever I came from, you know, in some Asian countries. It's a growing economy. They want you to be that back there. You're educated, and where you're educated, they don't kind of want you to be here. So this is a whole lot of different issues that we talk about. The answer is yes. A lot of the top talent is leaving, is going back to the country.
But I take it also the issue we have going the other way, which is, we like to move people around and move them out of the country and move them somewhere else just because they get the global experience. China is growing so quickly, and I'm also back to the panel earlier today. I don't know where the 30% unemployed, college-educated unemployed, send them to Ogilvy because we can't get enough people, and so what's happening is people who we would normally pluck out, send somewhere else for development, we can't. We're just leaving them in China now because we need them to grow the office that we have there, the unit that we have there.
But that's, Shelly, that's a completely different set of problem in that. I appreciate what you just said, but when we go to China and try to hire those people, it's really a reflection of whether their curriculum is teaching or graduating global ready talents. And so this is a issue. I know a lot of people knows a lot about China. This is a social issue in China where a lot of people thought that if I go to school, I graduate from university, and somehow I'm going to have a good job and I'm going to chase my middle class dream. It's really not happening lately for a whole host of reasons, but it's not happening lately. And part of that is we also find as an employer going to China, we'd be very selective now in the school that we go to because their curriculum isn't as complete as, so if they send you all those people, you probably don't want to.
Well, anyone can do it. Anyone can do advertising. There's no special skills.
No, I'd say I agree, John. This is a huge issue for the U.S., and if we don't get our act together, by the way, this is not a Chinese issue, it's not an Asian American. It's all the emerging markets, Brazil, Latin America, it's all over, Turkey, you name it. So many people that were and still are coming here for school, but it's beyond that now, even 5-10 years out, that are going back to their country, even after having made a life here, getting married, sometimes having kids. Our immigration policy, as you mentioned, post 9/11, is terrible in this regard. And the brain drain is starting to head the other way, and it could be a real issue for us. And particularly in science and technology, but it's across the board. I worry about it a lot. And if I were the administration, and I know to a certain extent they do, I'd be very worried about it.
That's interesting because, I interviewed the CEO of Yum Brands, so KFC, etc. The greatest percentage of college graduates that they have running restaurants, when you look at it in countries, so in fast food restaurants in the United States, the vast majority are run by people with high school educations or less. It's a great way to move up in management without needing to get a college degree. But in China, huge percentage of their store managers have college degrees. And I thought, that's a society that's not absorbing the talent in a productive way. Or is it that those degrees really aren't college degrees? A little of both?
Well, I think a little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Interesting.
And then besides, KFC only open brand in the kind of the developing city, in the developing region, and a lot of the people would like to go there. So yes, it's very highly competitive, then they could pick.
We have good advertising too.
And they must be doing that.
For Jenny and John Chen, you guys are carrying the water here all day. How are you teaching your children to be leaders and good people to fully function in today's society? Lessons learned from your own childhood and very different from your parents.
Well, for one thing, none of my kids are doctors, lawyers, and engineers. So that.
Do they play the violin, though?
No, they don't.
Okay.
They don't even play piano. So what I think as parents, I think it's so important. I think we're told a lot, when we're like, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. And I think we're very obedient. I think in my generation, that is. I'm not saying that. Certainly, somehow didn't pass on to my kids. They're not very obedient. But I think it's very important to let them kind of learn to think for themselves and to learn what are they passionate about. Obviously, I come from a creative sense, and I think knowing that is really important. I know when I went into retail, my mother actually cried because she didn't think that was really a career. Because, how many people ever say, when you grow up, you should run a store, or when you grow up, you should be a buyer. I've never heard that, right? When you grow up, you should be an engineer. When you grow up, you should be a teacher.